Hello everyone. So today's topic is Indian civilization and women's dressing. I never thought that in the year 2025 I would be addressing such a topic. But there has been some discussions regarding this topic going around in my home country, in my home state. For quite some time, there have been discussions with regard to women's dressing. I think this topic has been a point of discussion for years. I think maybe for decades. But in the year 2025, I never thought that this would be such a hot topic that we need to come about and discuss it on various medias. I thought maybe some people, individuals had personal opinions which they would keep to themselves, but it has come to such an extent that it has become a topic of discussion on a wider media. Anyway, so when I was going through the news articles and people's discussions, there has been a huge discussion going on in back my country, in my back home, in the home state of where I'm coming from. So the discussion is huge, large-scale discussions, and this is a huge topic like women's dressing. And the point many people had been emphasizing was on Indian civilization and Indian culture. So that is where it made me realize that, oh my God, I need to discuss this topic. If they hadn't included the Indian civilization and Indian culture part, I would have let it go. But no, the emphasis, a lot of people were emphasizing on women's dressing related to Indian civilization and Indian culture. So again, as always, anything that is discussed in my videos are purely and entirely my own opinions. It is not influenced by anything, anybody, or anything like that. In the similar way, I appreciate other people's opinions, ideas, and contradictions. But give me the points. Give me the points in the right way. Explain to me this is what we expect, and this is what we contradict, so we can have a healthy discussions. Any community, any society's development depends upon healthy discussions and challenging and contradicting thoughts from different individuals. Again, I'm repeating this. I've repeated it several times. Again, I want to include it here as well. So women's dressing, when I researched a little bit about Indian civilization and how women used to dress in our civilization or as per our culture, there is no specific stipulation or emphasis on how somebody must dress. There is no strict rule on dressing as per se. This is my understanding, okay? Please correct me if I'm wrong. So when we look at ancient pictures or ancient sculptures, what we generally see is we used to have a single long cloth that people used to adorn themselves with. The concept of stitching stylish clothes, stitching a shirt or stitching a blouse, that kind of concept never existed as part of Indian civilization or Indian culture. It is fairly new to the Indian civilization. The stitching part and adorning a cloth in the stitched format is a completely new concept to Indian culture. That's something we adopted at much later stage. So let's not bring in, fiction into reality. When we share or when we put in points or when we make discussions, when we do discussion, let's put in facts. So there is no Indian civilization or Indian culture which is completely saying that a woman have to dress in this particular manner, or man has to adorn themselves in this particular manner, or they have to represent themselves in this particular manner. There is nothing like that stipulated in any of the Indian any research or studies related to Indian civilization or Indian culture. So that is something that we have to put in as the ground rule. Indian civilization and Indian culture does not emphasize on anybody's dressing. If there was any kind of celebration or what we understand from the scriptures and the pictures or the sculptures is that, as I mentioned, women and men adorned a single piece of cloth, a long single piece of cloth, beautifully. And if there was any emphasis on fashion statements or royalty, even the royalty wore the same kind of clothes. I mean, nobody went for the stitched or stylized version of cloth. They just adorned pieces of cloths, single pieces of cloths. And if there was any emphasis, that was on the jewelry. And we can see, I think anybody can look at the ancient pictures and sculptures and understand there was a lot of jewelry being worn by the royalty and by the people depicted, by whether it's our gods or goddesses. We see a lot of emphasis on the jewelry part, but not on the clothes as much. It's my understanding, okay? So and what I understand is even today when we look at the clothes that traditional clothes, whether it be sari or dhoti, it's basically a single piece of cloth. We do not stitch a sari. Okay, now there is modern versions of saris where we can I think we can wear it in a minute, 1 minute sari or something like that. But traditionally a sari is just a one piece of cloth which is not stitched. And dhoti is one piece of cloth which is not stitched. It's an unstitched version. So let's not mix our traditions and culture with fiction. Let's keep our traditions and cultures and civilization in that respectable position where it is so broad-minded, which is not narrow-minded, and which accepts the diversities of the world, which accepts the differences of the world. And when time went on, what I understand is that once the Britishers invaded us, or other invaders came into India, the Indians adopted the dressing style of other Westerners or other invaders, and we changed and adapted ourselves. So we changed our dressing style and dressing senses as per the changing times. We didn't stand there and be rigid saying that no, we just like to be what we were in the ancient days. No, we adapted, we changed ourselves as per the situations and circumstances. So we have always been focused on growth and development rather than hanging on to beliefs which retards the growth and development of our country or our societies or our communities. So we were always open to growth and development in the right manner. So these are some of the points that I really wanted to discuss here. And what I also another point that really stuck to me is we just celebrated Kumbh Mela, right? What an amazing celebration, what an amazing event, one of the largest one of the largest holy gatherings. What a proud moment, and what a celebration of civilization, what a celebration of culture, what a celebration of faith. So, and what is the biggest takeaway from that kind of a celebration, or that kind of human gathering? The biggest celebration is the biggest takeaway of such a celebration is the celebration of diversity. You look at any of the pictures or any of the video clips that is available in the internet or the media, you see the diverse representation there. Does anybody say that you have to come in this kind of dressing to Kumbh Mela? I didn't see any of that things. There were people who were dressed, there were people who were not at all dressed, there were people covered in vibhuti, that ash powder, people covered in that. So nobody was bothered about what a person is wearing or not wearing. So the biggest takeaway from a celebration like Kumbh Mela, along with the faith, along with the traditions, along with the culture, is that freedom to celebrate the individuality of a person. The right for somebody to wear what they like or not to wear anything, right? There were sadhus walking around who chose not to wear any clothes. There were sadhus who were fully covered. So that is the biggest takeaway. Our tradition and our civilization and our culture celebrates individuality, gives the people the right to be themselves, to believe in what they believe in, to to adorn their own types of worshipping, to practice what they believe in, as long as it's not against the law, as long as it's not hurting somebody personally or physically. If anybody is going and attacking somebody on the basis of anything or the belief, then that is against the law, then that is something against the belief system, that is against the society and community. As long as somebody is not hurting some other person or is not harming another person, every person has been given the right to be themselves. That is what is the beauty of Indian civilization and culture. So for me, the biggest takeaway of Kumbh Mela is the celebration of individuality, the celebration of diversity, the celebration of diverse belief systems, and still holding on to the tradition, civilization, and culture. That is the real beauty of India. So let's take it forward. Let's take the actual beauty of India forward, and let's not get stuck in belief systems which are not progressive. I would also like to share some of my personal experiences with regard to women's dressing. I see it everywhere. Like not only in a specific country, specific state. I have seen it in many different places where people may not be so vocal, but behind the scenes, people discussing, oh, this person's dressing, oh, this person's makeup, especially women. Especially women. Oh, this person's too much of makeup, too much of dressing, too much of Botox, too much of plastic surgery. Yeah, okay. See, there's nothing wrong with discussing. As long as you're not attacking that individual, you're free to raise your opinion. That's not at all a problem. But do not bring in the civilization and culture part, because civilization and culture never stipulated about anybody's dressing sense or anybody's makeup sense. Or so our civilization and culture celebrated beauty, celebrated flamboyance, celebrated ornaments. So let's celebrate all the beauty and that is available in the world. The personal experiences. So like we as a family, we lived in various parts of India. Like we lived in north, south, west, almost so many places, so many states of India we used to travel and we used to live because of my father's transferring jobs. So when we used to live in north, we used to buy the clothes which are available in north, that particular state, whatever clothes used to be available, we used to buy that and we used to wear it. And during vacation, we used to take the same clothes back to our home state. And when we used to wear those clothes, people used to make fun of us. Those days, for example, maxi dress. My mom used to wear maxi dresses when she went to her home state, and people used to make fun of her, saying that, what is she wearing? What are you wearing? You look like a priest. In those days, like Christian priests in churches, they used to wear this one-piece dress, not a one-piece dress, the normal priest clothes. And the maxi dresses, people used to compare it with the priest's clothes, because it was not, you don't see, in those days in my home state, you don't see people wearing these maxi dresses. I'm talking about decades ago, okay? And people used to make fun of my mom, saying, oh my God, what is she wearing? And in our language, they used to say loha. Loha, she's wearing a loha. And people used to make fun of my mom. And if I go now to my home state, each and everybody is wearing the same loha, same maxi dress. It's common. Everybody is wearing that dress, and nobody's making fun of anybody at all. So we adapt ourselves, we change ourselves. Those people who made fun of us in those days are wearing the same thing now. And when me and my sisters all become a little bigger, and we used to live in a different state when we were teenagers and all. And we used to wear pants, jeans when we went back to our home state, and we were made fun of for that as well. Those days, it was not common for girls to wear pants and jeans in our places. And they used to make fun of us, saying that, I don't know, they used to use some other word for that. And even so it was funny for people to see girls in pants and jeans in my home state in those days, and they used to make fun. Nowadays, everybody is wearing it. Every other girl is wearing a jeans or pants or a shirt. So we are progressing and we are adapting, and we are all trying to look good and better than the best version of ourselves. So please be accepting. All these things used to happen years ago, decades ago. Now we are progressed, and let's have healthy discussions. Let's have progressive thinking and progressive discussions. Let's not have discussion to tear other people down, or tear the community down, or tear the society down for these trivial matters. And even those decades ago, my cousin's sister, she was studying for engineering, and she had to wear trousers when she's going to college because of project work. The uniform is stipulated as they have to wear trousers and shirt. And she used to get teased when she's going by the bus or public transport. She used to get teased for wearing trousers. Now, I don't think anybody does that to any girl who's going to school in trousers. I don't think anybody does that. So let's not wait for 20, 30 decades to adapt ourselves. Let's move ahead quickly in the right manner. And as I said, it's like there's a saying that beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. And when we look at again, I'm going back to the Kumbh Mela factor, because we just finished celebrating it, and it has been a huge coverage by the international media. So when I look at the Kumbh Mela pictures or the reels, I don't feel any vulgarity in that. I don't feel any dirtiness in that. What do you feel? When you people look at it, what do you feel, or what do you think? What are the kind of thoughts coming to your mind? I would appreciate to understand what is the kind of thinking people have in general. Because when I look at it, if there is anything I feel, oh my God, I feel amazed. I feel amazed that people are living these kind of lives for years and years. And that too, in this century, people are dedicating themselves to a higher cause called divinity. Oh my God, I feel amazed at seeing these kind of things. I don't find any vulgarity or dirt in that. So I think most of the time it's in our thoughts and in our eyes, the vulgarity, the gaping, in our words, rather than the people representing themselves. So let's, I don't know, I feel that let's look at the beauty rather than the vulgarity, or misconstruing things as vulgar or dirty. Let's find the beauty in everything. Let's try to depict beauty in everything. And what else I wanted to discuss? Moreover, about all this dressing and personal stuff, and this is something personal stuff. When I'm discussing another thing came into my mind. So now I'm talking about all the people who were teasing us when we were younger, or decades ago, how people were being teased for wearing dresses which is not common in their places. Now, when I got married, my husband is a person who was born and brought up in my home country, though he left for work for a different country. So in my home state, he was born and brought up in my home state. And in our customs, in our systems of marriage and all that, the husband is supposed to buy clothes for their wife after marriage. I think it's the same way in every places. I don't know, okay? Now things are different. I'm talking about decades ago. So my husband took me to a nice luxury showroom, and he bought me so many fancy clothes, and I was not used to wearing these kind of dresses before my marriage, and he bought me so many fancy clothes, and that was the first time I was wearing that kind of fancy kind of dresses, and I was like amazed. So what I'm trying to say here is that he's a person coming from the same place, but a different kind of thinking. So he brought me such high-end clothing. When we talk about high-end, it's not the norm that usually people wear in common to our place. Like as I said, we used to have problem with women wearing jeans and trousers. So when he bought those fancy clothes, so he had this vision or the thinking or the mentality to be different. So just because people coming from the same place or some people have certain opinion, that doesn't mean that everybody in that place has the same opinion or think and act in the same way. There are contradicting opinions, there are contradicting thoughts, there are contradicting actions coming from different people, which is amazing, which is what we want in this world. People with progressive thinking, progressive actions, progressive adaptations, who can adapt. And it's not necessary that we accept it, but if we are able to adapt to the thing, to the situation, then we are bringing in change. And we need to have change in our lives to progress. We need to have change in our communities and societies to progress to a next level. If we get stuck in a specific belief system or specific mentality that this is the only thing in the world, then we are we are curbing our opportunities to grow ahead or move ahead and progress as a society and community. So please, let's have diverse interests, diverse understandings and opportunities and thinking and implementation as well. Not only the talking part where we say vulgar statements or dirty statements against some women or other people and then end up being a regressive society or community, but rather be a progressive state. And another thing, why this is important, why this topic is significant, is worthy of discussion. This is the conclusion part, is why I am really wanted to discuss this topic here. Any country, any state, any community, any society's progress depends upon the women working, the women engaging in bringing in finances, bringing in the money into the house. So no country is progressive until and unless its woman folk is working, is going out there and representing themselves. That is a lesson which they are teaching to the children in the household as well. A progressive country's GDP is directly proportional to the progress of the women in that country. So this is why this topic is of relevance here. This topic is relevant so much here because each country's GDP is directly related to the growth and progress of the women in that country. So we need more women coming out and working in different facets of life, in different phases of the society, corporates, businesses, entertainment, travel, air, all these places. We need more and more coming out and more women coming out and working. So we cannot regress them and give them an environment of hate and dirt and vulgarity and make them sit at home. So don't try to create a work environment which is so regressive that women feel demotivated and not motivated enough to come to work just because she likes to dress in a specific way, or just she's not coming and harming anybody, correct? From this particular incident which we are discussing in our home country, she did not harm anybody, she did not hurt anybody, she did not use vulgar words against or actions against anybody. So give her an opportunity, or not only her, give every woman an opportunity to come out and work and represent herself and represent her home, represent her home country, home state. And let's be progressive. Let's have more women coming out and working here. And this is why I wanted to discuss this topic. Let's have our women children, girl children coming out and working with confidence and belief in themselves and belief in the people around, not only belief in ourselves, but we have to believe in the people around us who are so supportive in all of us achieving a better and better for ourselves, for our homes, and for our societies and our countries as well. So thank you. I think this has been a pretty lengthy video, but this is necessary for us right now. And I hope if there is any mistakes, anything that you do not agree with, please feel free to put in the messages. I would really appreciate your thoughts, and let's have a fantastic work culture everywhere around the world. Thank you so much for your time here. Thank you, and bye-bye.